It's quite apt that that's a red light we're being held up, because we are on our way to go and photograph a beautiful red Ducati. My good friend Andrew races in the British Sports Bike or BSB category bikes, and he has very kindly let me help out. He's very kindly offered to help out for this little photographic trip. Which way am I going? I'll go to Tile Hill. I think I'm annoying that car behind me quite a lot. There we go. So yes, my good friend Andrew has very graciously got his Ducati out, and I'm going to go and photograph it today, and you are more than welcome to come along and see how everything's done. We are going to be talking about photographing the details of this bike. That's what I'm quite interested in this particular instance. I've never been right up close to a race bike in this kind of setting, and these sorts of race bikes. I'm much more accustomed to the adventure kind of street world. So it's going to be very interesting to learn a bit about these bikes, what they do, how they're set up, and all of that kind of stuff. So stick along, it's going to be a fun ride.
Already thinking about you, girl, without even thinking about you, girl.
When photographing such a gorgeous bike, one of the things to remember is to focus on the details, not necessarily the whole bike. We're all too accustomed to walking up to a bike or walking up to anything and kind of grabbing a camera and standing back and trying to take the whole picture of the whole bike. But sometimes what's really nice to do is to separate out what are the key features of a bike, particularly a bike like this, where you have the little clips on all the little parts to make sure nothing falls off. All that kind of stuff. So you've got the suspension, you've got the brakes, you've got the little character details that the riders put on themselves. I love this little relax sticker. Making sure that the pictures get all the subtlety of not only the bike but the rider as well. So looking at the tires, looking at the details of the chain, all of the little engine components that all fit together to make the whole bike what it is. Bikes are a sum of their part, not just, one entity. When trying to take a picture of a bike that's known for its color, one of the things you want to do is make sure you've got a really, really nice background. For example, here what we've done is we've put the bike at a nice kind of 45-degree angle to some nice block colors. So we've got the green, which is really, really going to help pop the color of the red, and then we're on a nice kind of reddish, kind of brownish floor. So that's going to make sure all the black stuff pops up. If we was to photograph this on a black tarmac, obviously it's not going to let the wheels pop up. So nice green background. And what we've done is we've actually got the bike at a 45-degree angle to the, I want to say hedge. It's more like a tree hedge, isn't it? And we've actually got the bike at a nice 45-degree angle. So it's going to give lots of kind of separation between the front of the bike and the background. So that's going to let us shoot a nice f-stop. It's going to let us shoot some nice depth of field between the actual bike and the background. But again, more than anything, what we haven't got is we haven't got any bright contrasting colors to the colors that are on the bike. The blues are going to pop out because there's no blues in the background. The reds are going to pop out because there's no reds in the background. And we're shooting on a light floor, which is going to let the black tires and the black rims and all of that stuff pop out. We've also got the bike at a 45-degree angle away from the sun. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to let some of the shadows pop through, but not all of them. And I think what we're going to do in a minute is we're going to add some light. So I've got a tripod with me, I've got a speed light, and we're going to put that at the front of the bike just to add some more light into the actual front of the bike. So I'm going to shoot nice and square on, a little bit of additive lighting on the right hand side of the bike or the front of the bike. Nice block colors everywhere else. Some days you have to work with the light that you have, so sometimes there's different options that you will have to take. Sometimes you'll have to add light in to get the good picture, or you might have to move the bike to an area with different lighting so you can get what you want. Today we have a really bright sun, there's no clouds, so we've got very hard contrasty light, which is great because it shows off all the little curves and there's lots of light to work with. However, it does leave deep shadows. It's in these deep shadows that sometimes we have to add light to balance everything out. So for example, the bike at the minute is kind of facing away from where the sun is. So the front end will need some extra light to balance everything out. So using a flash, we can just add light to the front of the bike and balance everything up. But what I've done is I've actually exposed the whole camera down a stop, and I'm gonna use flash a number of times, and I'm gonna put all of these pictures together to make one final image. So what that does is that actually lets me pop the whole bike out of the environment that it's in. So the background is actually gonna be what you'd call underexposed, but the bike should be nicely exposed. And the idea about this is that I can actually expose different parts of the bike. So I can have the front of the bike nicely lit, and I can use that flash to highlight different key features. So we can put a light specifically on the engine or on the front, and this sort of lighting is like an additive lighting style. And we're basically using the tools to build up a nice image of the bike. The other really cool thing to do with motorbike photography is obviously these aren't static machines. These are designed to move. This one a little bit faster than my bike, but obviously we're not at a track. This is a track specific bike. We can't really take it out around the roads and get some pictures where motion and speed is the characteristic. If we were on a track, then that would be a slightly different thing. So to demonstrate this, we actually, my partner and I did some pictures a couple of years ago with my bike in a lake called Loch Atatoric, if I pronounce that correctly. And what we did is we put the bike into the lake, and I tried to come out of the lake with a little bit of speed, not too much, because these pictures are actually being used in a commercial sense, so I didn't want, you know, to be looking reckless. But these pictures have a certain amount of motion in them. And if you can introduce a certain amount of motion, that's going to create drama. And pictures are basically, that's what we're doing. We take pictures, we add some drama, we add some character, we add some narrative, and that all builds up to hopefully a very, very good image. The dangers though are when you're having interesting compositions and lots of drama. You kind of want to introduce drama and composition in the same kind of way. So what I'm talking about is understanding composition and the rule of thirds. Okay, so the rule of thirds is a principle where a photographer can actually make some quite balanced images, and there's a grid that you can use, and it basically splits the images up into kind of major areas. We call them horizon lines, and then like we have vertical lines, and it creates a square, like a rectangle in the middle, and they give us 4 points. They're 4 points of interest. Pictures look really good when we anchor, they're called anchor points, interesting bits of an image to these areas. So they tend to be top left and top right. They're your main anchor points. So when you are introducing something like a motorbike into an image, let's have a think about how this picture fits into the rule of thirds, because that's going to help make an interesting image. It's also going to make an image that's very easy for somebody to read, and that's going to be quite important, especially when you have such a big, beautiful bike that people want to spend a few minutes looking at. You want to make an image that makes people eye dances around the frame, those sorts of things. And you can do it if you keep images nice and simple. You make them about specific things. So either a picture is about motion, or it's about speed, or it's about the mechanical beauty or the individual nature of a bike. So using all the things that we've spoke about, as in composition, strong colors, strong lines, getting close, maybe thinking about montages, or having a think about using the power of contrast and black and white images, or have a think about how you're going to use lighting to really make your pictures pop out. Have a think about the differences turning the light on the front of the bike is going to make. Obviously we can't do it here, but all of those little things will all come together to really help you showcase what it is that you're trying to do. And at the end of the day, that's all taking pictures of motorbikes is going to be about: telling simple stories.